See, now this is how you do it. This is how you make an audience understand and appreciate your game beyond just for the gameplay experience, but also for the art that the game provides. Over on Twitter, I know. The Lies of P social media folks posted the director's letter by Jiwon Choi, and it basically explains that the DLC is coming. They want to create as good an experience for us, those of us that enjoyed and played the game. Obviously, of course, there's DLC coming out, and they always want to continue to make games and be efficient at them, regardless of how long it takes. I know it's funny how time seems to crawl when I'm waiting for anticipated games as a gamer, but it flies so fast when working on one. Bridging this gap is perhaps where I must strive the most. At the very end, it says, by the way, here's a new song and artwork from the DLC. Can you imagine what the new story will unfold? I listen to this thing, and it is sublime. But it is really cool to me that a company will go out of its way, and instead of showcasing gameplay or a trailer for something or what have you, or a release date, they instead choose to show artwork and this soundtrack. Let's listen to this. I have some thoughts. So it's really cool. Before we hop into this, what happened right away? Can you think of what happened musically right away? We have an idea. Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. We had an idea, and we immediately start it. We have a motivic idea right here. Right there. Instantly. Instantly. Like, that's really cool. We're not taking our time getting into the motivic idea. We're instantly thrust into the melody. And what does that do? Well, that immediately sets the stage for our perspective. That immediately sets the stage for our emotion. This is a song that really, to me, sounds like love. It's a song that sounds like wanting to patch something up. It's a song that makes me feel like a relationship blooming. It's very bright. It's in the middle slight upper register of the piano. If you're looking at a keyboard, a C4 is middle C. It's probably around C5, C6. No, C6 is C5. It's probably around C5. A little bit of C4 as well, in that range. So there's a warmth in that range. It's not too high where it ends up sounding a bit childlike, or that it sounds sort of starry or what have you. The middle register area is very, very warm. But listen to how we initially set this up. And what happens there? There we recap, actually, the original idea with just a little bit more enhancement to it, right? This is all intro. And then wow. Wow, they actually merged there. That's really cool. The cello and the accordion actually ended up merging in that middle section there. I love, first of all, the use of instrumentation here. The cello is one of the instruments that is most like the human voice in terms of its range. It's very much in the mezzo-soprano range, which is sublime, right? But then what's also really cool is that the accordion is sort of an unconventional instrument that we don't really hear that frequently. And the accordion here is very bounding, and there's a playful energy to it. But it's almost youthful. And I wonder if that accordion represents maybe Pinocchio, and the cello represents Geppetto, or what have you. I don't fully recall what happens at the end of the game, but the point is that, because I never finished it, because I got stuck at the King of Puppets, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to set this down. But this is great. I mean, this is so melodic, and it's so emotional, and it's cool because as we've progressed through the song, we've actually stacked on top of each other. We've added layering, we've added different setups and stuff, and that's really, really satisfying to listen to. Not only that, but again, we've continued the emotional thread that we had at the very beginning, at the first 2 seconds, right? The accordion comes in, it does the same thing that the other piano repetition did, but now the piano takes over when the accordion comes in, and now the piano takes over as the accompaniment. This was really cool. And accompaniment, of course, is like the stuff that the accordion is basically the solo instrument, the solo voice. And the piano underneath is supporting that voice by playing along and letting the accordion take the melody. And then the cello comes in the background around here-ish. And that's where we start to get a little bit of wonderful color. And there's a richness, a woody earthiness in the cello sometimes that I think really comes across here. But I just wanted to stop really quick because of how gorgeous that little merging here. I think it's right here. Right. Same pitch. And to me, this really does sound like what we do. This is a common trope, and I do sometimes feel like I'm repeating myself, but essentially this really does feel like picking up the pieces of a broken world. And what does it mean to start again? And how do we start again even after so much? Right? Like the experience of Liza P was not a relaxed experience. It was wrought with suffering and danger and pain and betrayal and so on and so forth. And so here it's like, well, what do we do about this now? And I think that's really a soundscape, is that it's mixed with this beautiful delight, mixed with, oh my God, what do we do now? And it's a really interesting emotional cue. Well, I'm actually curious, what do you think that means? Because that's what it means to me, but I'd love to know what you think it means. Some nice unison movement there. And that's very optimistic sounding. We have a key change. Piano's still in there, but it's actually a duet with the violin and the cello now. Oh, what beautiful phrasing there with that violin. That's exceptional. Nice slide legato, and legato is when everything's connected. Nice legato line up to the top there. And the cello actually backpedals so far that it almost feels like the cello's not even there. The piano is really, if you think about like stacking in terms of layering, you've got the violin as the predominant solo instrument. Then you have the piano supporting that violin. And then underneath that is actually where you have the cello. So the cello becomes this like slow, that becomes this low and important aspect to supporting the other two instruments. So it's interesting how what we're actually doing is creating waves of importance when it comes to which instruments are being predominantly focused on. And I think that it was cool too that we replaced somewhere in here, we replaced the accordion as the main thrust of the piece. Not too far after we have that unison thing and they all kind of are moving at the same time in descending patterns. Now we have the violin that's front and center, and it takes over from the accordion. It's really, I mean, just what a stunning piece. And the theme that really comes back to me over and over and over in this is love. See, now the accordion is also supporting the other instruments. And there it is again, playing its little part. And so that's terrific. So the accordion, the way it's structured, I mean, I'm no accordion expert, but the way that, it expands and contracts it's all about your hand motion. And so to be able to keep it extended and then be doing these short notes is very interesting to me. And actually, what really crossed my mind from an emotional perspective, and because I'm an opera singer for like a decade, so the way I approach this music is always from the basis of emotion, of course. And what's really interesting to me about this is that we're left with almost like we did this all together, like we all had a part to play. Because there's multiple different voices. And I think because video games and video game music are so directly connected, this is really about like what the roles of everyone are and what the responsibilities are of everybody. But there's a coming together sound quality, which is quite nice. And now the cello's front, or the accordion's front and center now again. And this is the deception or danger. Everything's sort of blending together. New idea. Wow, new idea. That's beautiful. The accordion represents Pinocchio. So the violin just took what the accordion did and went ahead and made that's the main motif. The main motif is coming from the violin. And now we're having a lot of more movement and stuff in the other instruments, but I wonder if it's going to go into the cello. Coming together there in the accordion and the violin. No, the cello moves in a different direction. But listen to how gorgeous this is. And it goes up in hope. Together there, you hear that? Da-da-ya. Wow, that's beautiful. Listen again how it starts. So we just had the solo piano, and then listen how it ends. Yeah. So what does that tell you? The first idea and the final idea are the same. They're in line. It's a recap of what we heard 3 minutes ago. What I like to call this is bookending. We are bookending all the journey that we took in the middle, coming together, feeling betrayal, feeling sadness, feeling loss. Actually, so that I also, now that I'm talking, this could also be a reflective piece on all the things that occurred in the original Lies of P without the DLC, rather than being something about the future. Or the themes from, they're obviously connected, but the themes of Lies of P will be extremely important to the DLC. But it's a very cool thing to hear how we start a piece and how we end a piece, and they are essentially the same. This is bookended by a main motivic idea, which represents something. To me, it represents love. It represents moving forward in an unforgiving situation. It means pushing through, but with an air of grace, or, you know, like, what's the juventud, youngness, or even a feeling of moving forward with peace of mind, even. And that's some powerful stuff. But again, the fact that this was the thing that was featured first, rather than gameplay, rather than trailers, and obviously we did get some pictures, but that's the thing that really makes this experience special to me, is that we are prioritizing music and art direction first. Because without that, gameplay can be great, but if you don't have that, how good can your game really be? And that's an incredible thing that you don't see very frequently. As always, thanks a ton. I'll see you later. Bye.